So I've been able to try out Silent Hill F early with an RTX 4060 gaming laptop, and I've tested it from low, medium, high and ultra with and without DLSS and frame gen. This is the game set to low settings natively without DLSS, and we're getting easily over 80 FPS, 78 FPS. The CPU is only around 79 Celsius, which is actually quite cool considering games usually get up to the 90s easily, and it does stay throughout that the entire time. Now with DLSS set to quality, we're getting easily over or just over 100 FPS, which is quite nice. It feels very smooth and very responsive. There isn't much of a delay whatsoever that I can see anyways. Now I was playing this with a controller, but it felt brilliant to me. I thought it felt great. I do think the game visually looks fantastic. Now sometimes YouTube's compression can be really bad with these videos, but for me I thought this game graphically, even on low settings, looked great. And to be honest with you, I was very skeptical coming into this game because with UE5 games, like let's say from Metal Gear that came out recently, the game performed really poorly. It was very disappointing. If you don't know, guys, I've tested literally over 80 games on this laptop, all of the biggest games you could think of. And with Metal Gear Solid, it just really disappointed me and actually scared me with the performance we were getting. But with this now set to medium settings, as you can see, guys, we're still getting over 70 FPS, which is very playable. This game is a great looking game, graphically very intensive, I can imagine. But now we're turning on DLSS set to quality, and it does actually dip down a bit. Just happens in certain areas, but then it comes back up. As you can see now, it's stuttering a lot here. And I was wondering, but then straight away back up, slowly climbing back up into the 60s. So obviously that's just a little hiccup, but the performance does get much better. Now we're back into like the mid 60s, I'd say. CPU is very cool. We're running around 75 Celsius, which is quite nice. Now we're going to go up to high settings. This is where I was like, okay, maybe now we're going to be pretty fucked. But to be honest with you, we're still like in like 55, 58 FPS, and this was quite an intensive moment. This is where there's a creature running after you, and it's quite intensive, but honestly the game is still running really well. I did play for a bit longer throughout each setting just to kind of give a better idea, and to be honest, my honest opinion on this game running on the laptop is it runs really well. You could probably get away with high settings throughout the entire game, getting over 60 FPS, no DLSS needed. Even maybe ultra settings, maybe a mix of both without DLSS needed at all, in my opinion, unless you really want those more frame rate. But honestly, this game runs superbly well, and honestly it makes me think what went wrong with Metal Gear Solid, because that game just ran so poorly. It was so disappointing, whereas this game runs so much better. I wonder, was it like a different team or what, because I'm pretty sure this is also a Konami game. So now we're going up to very high, which is basically the highest settings possible without DLSS or frame gen, and we're getting around 70 FPS average, 60s, 70s, which again is extremely like playable, great frame rates. CPU's only around 77 Celsius, which is nice and cool. Anything around the 70s and mid 80s is absolutely fine. Even hitting the 90s occasionally isn't the worst, depending on the game and how graphically intensive the game is, of course. But it's nice to see that the CPU is staying that cool. Even with like the GPU is only around 70 Celsius, which is freaking great to see. It is quite more of a GPU intensive game than it is a CPU, which is quite nice and definitely takes the laptop into its favor, because I think the laptop's GPUs, if a game's more GPU intensive, it's only going to run a lot better, whereas the CPU is usually the bottleneck for most games recently. So a game like this running more graphically intensive is probably going to help it out more in the long run. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. We're so close to 2k subs. Laptop review 2 years later coming out very soon, guys. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on a video. See you guys in the next video. Have an amazing